my contention, as I said at the beginning of the program, is that we need to get our kids engaged in being part of what Australia's promise should be. A generation or two ago, it was not a problem. At 14, 15, they were making decisions to go and get that apprenticeship, to start a trade, and many of them could buy and sell those that were forced to stay or decided to stay to the end of year 12. I'm not against people going to universities, but most people don't. Most people don't complete a university course. Kids are going crazy. They've published a list in Queensland this week of schools where kids are causing all sorts of trouble. Yes, be it drugs or fights and whatever else. The police are being called. You've got a student on the Sunshine Coast who, at 14, was put in some sort of suspension because he snuck behind the bushes during a football match to relieve himself, have a pee, if you like. And I don't know whether there's a further story to that. And then you've got teachers, Sophie, that are being bullied because they chose not to have the COVID vaccine. They weren't able to be at school, but now, as Joe said before, you know, the CDC has said it ain't as big a thing as it once was. And teachers are being docked. They're being bullied by the Queensland government because they weren't jabbed. Queensland police officers can't go back on the force unless they've had 4 injections. I think government's just intruding in too many people's lives here.
It's shocking, Gary. It's shocking, and we should be moving on from this. I got back from Europe recently, and over in the UK, people don't talk about COVID. We're obsessed with it down here in Melbourne. I was on a bus at the airport the other day, and the bus driver, as I got on, he said to me, "Where's your mask?" I hadn't had my mask on, and I put it on. I got to the airport, I took it off. Then I got on the plane and I put it on. Then I could take it off to have food. I mean, this is just nuts. And this overreach of government just seems to continue on. We are so COVID scared down here in Melbourne. And I can understand why would people want to come down here in Melbourne, let alone the issues up in Queensland. But we've become a country, I think, on a global scale where people asked me when I was in the UK, "Oh my goodness, what happened in Australia? It was crazy over there." So that's damaging our tourism. The ramifications of this overreach by government, both state and federal, I think is so damaging for Australia and will remain that way for some time yet, Gary.
Yeah, and this is why I say that if you end up with Daniel Andrews again after the November election, you've let him get away with what he's done. Imagine what he'll do in the next 4 years. Anyway, it's up to you.
But what's
Joe,
the
before we go to the break, let's talk about
the alternative down here?
Well, somebody's got to put an alternative forward, and I can't comment. I don't get a vote. I don't live there, but
the alternative down here is terrible, Gary. It's terrible. The Liberals down here are utterly hopeless. And they've got this emissions target that's harsher than federal Labor. So we've got a lefty-Liberal party down here effectively. Daniel Andrews will get in, and he'll get in easily. And the Liberal Party here is heading down the path of ending up like Western Australia. They are so woke and so left, it's embarrassing.